Hey, what's good with it, folks? Your boy AG at the VHB. Now, I recently put out my top 10 spring fragrances of 2020. And after I dropped that video, I had some people hit me up like, yo AG, what fragrances do you recommend that's a little bit more on the cheaper side? So for all y'all that's balling on the budget, man, I got y'all today. But before we get started, man, to all y'all that came back to see me, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome to Trailz. Around here, I do fragrance reviews, previews, top 10s lists, unboxings, first impressions, pretty much anything that's fragrance related. So if any of that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Matter of fact, go ahead and hit the bell, so anytime that I put out a new video, you're gonna be one of the first ones to know. Now, if this isn't your first time here and you haven't subscribed yet, you might as well hit the subscribe button. Now let's go ahead and get started. Already. Now, like I had said in the intro, I had people hit me up wanting to know what fragrances I recommend that's a little bit more on the economical side. So that's what I got for y'all today, man. My spring cheapies list. Now, when I say cheap, I don't mean cheap as in quality. Now, I will admit, because they're a little bit more on the lower end on the price range, they're not going to be as high quality as some of the more higher priced fragrances that are out there. But with that said, these are still some quality type fragrances that I'm hitting y'all with. It's not like you're going to the mall and you're buying those knockoff fragrances in the middle aisle as you walk through the mall. You know, the ones that you spray on and only last about a good 5 to 30 minutes, and then after that, it's all gone. Yeah, this is nothing like that. Don't worry about that. These are still some quality fragrances. They're just a little bit less expensive than some of the ones that were actually on my top 10 spring fragrances that I put out recently. Now, before we get started, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. And the first one up is English Laundry's London. Yes, I know this was an honorable mention in my last video, but I couldn't do a spring cheapies list and not have this one on there. I mean, this one right here is a great smelling fragrance. Now, I won't spend too much time on this because I already spoke about it in my last spring video. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check out that top 10 spring fragrances of 2020 video where I speak a little bit more on this. But like I said in that video, this is a fragrance that is inspired by Creed's Aventus. So out of all the fragrances that have been made as clones or inspirations of Creed's Aventus, out of all the ones that I put my nose on, this has the best opening out of all of those. Now, the only reason this is just an honorable mention is because, for one, it was already an honorable mention in my last video, and two, I already have a fragrance on here that is inspired by Creed Aventus and it performs way better than this one. However, since you can pick this one up for about $12–15 at the rack stores, you know, JCPenney's, Marshall, stuff like that, for the price, this is a great fragrance to pick up, even though the performance on this one is not as great as the other one that's on the list. So that's English Laundry's London. So my second honorable mention is actually one that ranked kind of high on my top 10 spring fragrances of 2020 that I put out recently. However, I can't do a spring cheapies list without mentioning this one, l'HommeIdealCologneE by Guerlain. Now, like I mentioned in that video, man, this is actually one that is discontinued. However, you can still pick these up for cheap at like rack stores like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, stuff like that. And you can even pick them up online for a cheap price still. Now, the reason this is an honorable mention is because this is already ranked high on my last list. Now, if I was to actually rank this on this list, this would probably end up being my #1 cheapie fragrance for spring. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this either because I already spoke on it on my last video. If y'all want to go check that one out, like I said, go ahead and hit the link. But what I will say that this is actually a good gourmandish type fragrance that works well when it starts to heat up. Now, I probably wouldn't wear it when it starts to hit the mid 90s or up into the triple digits. But other than that, man, it's a good warm weather fragrance. It's cheap and I definitely recommend this. Now let's go ahead and get into the actual list. Now, on my number 10 spot, I got a fragrance that I'm probably going to end up butchering the name, but it's Silver by Al-Rehab or Al-Rehab, something like that. I'm not exactly sure how you say that name, but the name will be right here below so you can look it up if you're interested in it. Now, this one here is a clone of Creed's Silver Mountain Water. For those of y'all that are familiar with the House of Creed, know that those fragrances tend to be a little bit more pricier than any of the designer fragrances that you find on the market. And Silver Mountain Water is actually a fragrance that I hear get spoken about quite often, right up there with Aventus and Green Irish Tweed. So this one right here is a clone of that one. So of course you get that lemony, metallic, floral, white musk type of scent. Now, the reason this is number 10 is because, truth be told, for some, this is actually going to be a very harsh type of opening. Now, if you can bear with it and can actually get past the opening, it actually starts to tone down and it starts to smell a whole lot better to me. Now, this one here does perform pretty well. I can get about a good 8 to 9 hours on this one, and I get maybe about an elbow's length of projection. Because it's actually a good quality fragrance for the price that you pay for this. Because if I remember correctly, I think I paid less than $15, and I would dare say it was probably a lot closer to 10. So I do recommend this if you've tried Silver Mountain Water before and you actually like that fragrance, and if you don't mind fragrances that are slightly flowery. But that was my number 10 spot, Silver by Al-Rehab. Now on my number 9 spot, I got a fragrance that gets compared to another Creed fragrance. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is Mont Blanc Individual. This one actually came out before Original Santal. So I guess you could say Creed got their inspiration from Mont Blanc. Now this is another good performing fragrance. Now I work 12-hour shifts and I sprayed this one on at the beginning of my work shift, and by the time I left I could still smell this fragrance on me. And this is one that you get about an arm's length worth of projection. So this is a good fragrance right here for the money. Now by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it yet or if I put it into the title, but all of these fragrances in this list are all going to be under $30. So this is definitely a good performing fragrance for the price. Now when you smell this one here has a lot of notes that's built into this fragrance. So the best and quickest way to describe this is the way that it's been described before, and that's that this smells like a fabric softener with a touch of raspberry. So this is one that gets a lot of good compliments. So if you want a fragrance that gets you compliments, performs pretty well, and you ain't got to spend a lot of money on, then this is definitely one that you want to check out. It's Individual by Mont Blanc. And that was my number 9 spot. Now my number 8 spot is one that I don't really hear get talked about too much in the community, and that is Tommy Bahama's St. Kitts. Now, truth be told, the majority of the Tommy Bahama fragrances that I put my nose on are all summer type staples. Because it's a fruity sweet fragrance, I feel that in the weather that we get here in Texas, this actually tends to be a little bit too cloying. At least if you live in Texas or anywhere where it gets pretty hot and pretty humid. And we hit temperatures between 95 degrees Fahrenheit and into the triple digits. So the sweetness in this can be a little too much when it starts to heat up or get humid around here. So that's why I prefer this one here in the spring. Now this one here opens up with the notes of starfruit, lime, and mandarin orange. And as it starts to dry down, it does have notes of sea salt and watery type notes. And you also have musk, cedar, driftwood, and ambergris in here. Now this one here has decent performance. I get about a good 5 to 6 hours on this and like within an arm's length worth of projection. So it's not a bad fragrance. And this is another one that you can find for cheap at like Marshall's or TJ Maxx. So that was my number 8 spot, Tommy Bahama's St. Kitts. Now my number 7 spot is another one that I'm probably gonna butcher the name, but I believe it's Tres Nuits by Armaf. Now this one here is Armaf's take on Green Irish Tweed by Creed. You're probably like, another Creed clone? Yes, I know. But what can I say, man, I actually like those. Now like I said before, man, Creed fragrances can be pretty expensive. But that's the world of niche fragrances. They're normally expensive. Now if you're not familiar with Creed's Green Irish Tweed or Armaf's Tres Nuits, then a fragrance that you might be familiar with that is actually similar to those two is Davidoff's Cool Water. So all three have a similar type vibe. So this one right here is actually closer to Creed's Green Irish Tweed. Of course, Green Irish Tweed is a higher quality type fragrance. Now I really love this one right here, man, especially like on a cool rainy spring day. I mean, I enjoy everything about this, man. The lemon verbena, the violet leaves, the spicy notes, the ambergris, the sandalwood, like all of it, man. I really enjoy this one right here. The best part about this one, man, is another good performing fragrance, man. I get about a good 10 hours on this one and about an arm's length worth of projection. So it performs well, it smells good, and if you love Green Irish Tweed by Creed, this one right here will get you close to that, but without having to spend all that money. So on my number 7 spot, man, that is Armaf's Tres Nuits. Now my number 6 spot is another fragrance by English Laundry. Now in actuality, I have a few English Laundry fragrances that I ended up getting out of a sample pack, and all of those could have actually fit right into this slot. These are all fragrances that can be used during the spring months and into the summer months. Now in that sample pack, I ended up getting Notting Hill, Arrogant. I also got Riviera. Now my favorite one of these, the one that actually made the list, is Oxford Bleu by English Laundry. I don't know if y'all can see that there or not. Now this sample pack you can find at like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls or whatever for around $15 with a sample pack of all 4 of these. Now these are some miniature bottles, but you can actually get the full size bottle at the same rack stores for around 12 to 15 bucks. So either way, whether you get the mini pack or you get the full size bottle, they're only gonna run you about $15. And that is a steal. Like all 4 of these that I showed you are all pretty good. But this one here, like I said, is my favorite. It's Oxford Bleu. Now this one here has notes of lemon, amber, sandalwood, nutmeg. Like this one here actually smells like the Clubbing King. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Eros by Versace. But the best part about it though, and actually this is what I like about most Old English fragrances. The majority of the fragrances that I put my nose on, they're all work safe type fragrances. Like you can wear them to work and there's not gonna be no complaining. And they have made quite a few fragrances that are actually inspired by other fragrances that are out there. Like this one here, like I said, is Versace Eros inspired, but it's not as loud. So that actually makes it more versatile because you can wear it casually, you can wear it to work, you know what I'm saying? You don't just have to wear it to the club, the bars, or outside. This actually is more versatile. So that's what I love about this one, because in situations where I can't wear Versace Eros and I want to have that Versace Eros type smell, this one right here suits me just well, and it gets me compliments just like Versace Eros. So I definitely recommend that you pick up Oxford Blue by English Laundry, or any other four that I just showed you from English Laundry. And this one here, I get about a good 6 to 8 hours worth and about arm's length of projection. So this one right here works great for me for spring. So for 15 bucks for the full size bottle for the sample pack, man, you can't beat that, man. You can't beat a great smell and decent performance for that price. So that was my number 6 spot, Oxford Blue by English Laundry. Now for my number 5 spot is Club de Nuit Intense Men by Armaf. Now I don't own the EDT version of that one anymore. Now the bottle looks very similar to this one, only without the red lettering. And of course that one's an EDT versus this one here, which is an eau de parfum, and it's a collector's edition. Now don't kill me guys, I swear this is the last Creed inspired fragrance that I have on this list. But I couldn't have a cheapies list without having Club de Nuit Intense Men. CDNIM is a popular fragrance in the community. And the reason it's popular is because it's the best clone of Creed's Aventus out on the market. Or should I say arguably, because there are some people that will probably fight you to the death over that. But for everybody else, this is the best Creed Aventus clone on the market. Or at least the EDT version. This is the EDP. It's another one that's under $30, and this one right here just smells great. Man, I love that smell. Like I said, this one right here is the eau de parfum version because I don't have the eau de toilette, but the eau de toilette is pretty good too. Now I love the EDP and I love the EDT. The EDT is the version that we're actually talking about here. But the reason this is on the number 5 spot, not a little bit higher, because I actually do really enjoy this fragrance, is because on the EDT version, when you first spray it, some people find the opening a little bit on the harsh side. Now, if you want to know more, I'll probably have a link to that video up here. But if not, I'll definitely have it down here in the description. But like I said, for the prices you can get the EDT version of this one, man, it is a banging fragrance for a cheap price. So that was my number 5 spot, Club de Nuit Intense Men EDT. Now my number 4 spot, I got Hunter Intense by Armaf. This is the Armaf bottle with the funny straps on it. And they're always some funny looking bottles. But a lot of these fragrances by Armaf though are on point. Yes, it's pretty much a clone house, but they tend to make very good clones. Now this one here, it's actually not a clone of any one single fragrance. This one actually, if anything, is more like an amalgam or a mixture of 2 different fragrances. Because this one here takes that Sauvage DNA and mixes it with Invictus Acqua. But in my opinion though, there's also something in here that I feel reminds me of L1212 Blanc by Lacoste. But anyways, if you love Sauvage or that Invictus DNA, then this one right here is probably one that you're gonna enjoy because it makes a nice blend of those two. So this one here is great for spring, good for summer. You can even use this one in fall. And I can get about a good 11 hours with good projection on this one. And yes, I know, I realize I have quite a bit of fragrances on this cheap list that are like inspirations or clones of something else, but this is the last inspired fragrance on this list. The other 3 are all original, or at least as far as I know. But that was my number 4 spot, Hunter Intense by Armaf. Now my number 3 spot is a fragrance that's actually been out for quite some time. And even though it's been out for quite some time, it's one that I still enjoy and one that I still reach for often. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is Burberry Touch. Now this one here is a really good smelling fragrance. It's a classic, man. Ah, man, that smells so good. You get mandarin, nutmeg, vita leaves, tonka beans, vetiver. Like, man, this thing right here is just, I'm telling you, man, this is an awesome fragrance right here. And it's one that I still get compliments on. The only downside to this one though, is if you were to wear this around your girlfriend, your wife, or your partner, whatnot, this is probably gonna be one that they smelled on an ex before, or a brother, or something like that. So you're not gonna smell unique with this one. But this is definitely a great smelling fragrance, man. It's a classic. And as long as they keep making this one and I get close to running out, this is one that I'm gonna wanna pick up. So for my number 3 spot, man, that was Burberry Touch. All right, folks, so now we're down to my final 2 fragrances. And it was actually a little bit tough for me, man, because I really enjoy these last 2 fragrances. But for my number 2 spot, I ended up going with L'Eau de Issey Pour Homme Intense by Issey Miyake. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, what can I say about this that you probably haven't already read or heard me say on Instagram, man? Like, this is one that I really enjoy, especially on a rainy day. Now, Issey Miyake has described this as water meets concrete. And when I smell this one right here, it definitely gives you that type of vibe. But of course with added notes, because you also have amber, nutmeg, ambergris, you have incense in there. But I mean, all that is just notes, just words to you. And I really can't express to you how good this actually smells until you put your nose on this one. But this one right here, man, It's one that I really enjoy, especially on a rainy day. And this works great for spring, summer nights, and you can use it in fall as well, man. So this is one that I definitely recommend. It's a good one from the house of Issey Miyake. I know here lately people have been starting to fall in love with Issey Miyake and all the stuff that they've been putting out here lately. But this one has actually been out for a while, not too many people talk about. But this is also a really good smelling fragrance, man. I definitely recommend it. Now this is a good performing one right here. So this one lasts a long time. I get about a good 12 hours of this one. At least 12 hours on this one, and people will definitely smell you. You will get noticed. This right here projects more than an arm's length. It's not gonna fill up a room, but if anybody gets within your vicinity, they're gonna definitely notice you're there. So it's definitely a really good fragrance, man, from the house of Issey. And for the price, man, this is a banger right here. So from the house of Issey Miyake, man, this is Bleu de Issey pour Homme Intense. All right, so now we're down to my number one spot, man. So for my best inexpensive spring fragrance of 2020, I'm gonna have to go with Salvatore Ferragamo's Acqua Essenziale Bleu. Now this one here is a long-lasting, really good projecting fragrance. Obviously my top two fragrances is gonna have to be one that not only smell good but last long, project well, and of course this one here is no exception. This is another fragrance that I get about 12 hours, and this one also projects pretty good too. So it's definitely gonna push past an arm's length worth of projection on this one, man. So you will get noticed with this one as well. Now what does it smell like? Well, it's nothing unique. I mean, it is a blue fragrance after all. However, this is a very well done blue fragrance. Now unlike most blue fragrances that are very fresh or aquatic, this one here is slightly different. So this is a blue fragrance. So just like in most blue fragrances that are out there, you're gonna get some form of ambroxan or ambergris, something like that. But this one here is ambroxan, and of course it's a mass appealing type fragrance. You do have citruses in here like bergamot and lemon, but it's also rounded out by tonka, patchouli, benzoin, lavender, and cedar. Now I really like this one right here, man. To me it smells kind of citrusy, kind of sweet, but then with the ambroxan it makes it somewhat kind of fresh. But for me, man, I also get somewhat of a creaminess to it. It's a really good fragrance, man. Like the rest of the fragrances that are in this list, man, it's a cheapie. So because of the prices, makes it a really good fragrance right here, man. It gives you compliments, it lasts a long time, projects pretty well, smells great. So most definitely, man, my number one spot is gonna be Acqua Essenziale Bleu by Salvatore Ferragamo. Well, all right, folks, man, there you have it, man. That was my top 10 inexpensive spring fragrances of 2020. So for all of y'all that have been wondering, been asking, man, I'm glad that I was able to make this video for you, man. I hope that you really enjoy it. Now, if you were able to get good info out of this, man, or you really enjoyed this video, man, go ahead and give me a like, man. While you're at it, you might as well hit subscribe. Like I said, anytime I do any reviews, previews, and first impressions, or top 10s lists, or anything that's fragrance related, you're gonna be one of the first to know. Now, I appreciate y'all stopping by to see me, man. I appreciate y'all's time, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Holla.